Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more G-Senjou no Maou, with me, Phantom Zwei. So, last time, we saw the demise of Maou. We saw him catch fire and collapse in a heap of flame after the bus that he tried to escape on exploded. So, let's continue on. Listen, why don't you stop cooping yourself up in here and try going outside for once?
浅井さんだって昨日は一日中寝てたじゃないですか。病院行けって言ったのに。
Oh, shut up.
いや、
Ever since that day, Usami has spent most of her time in my place.
すいませんね。すっかり彼女面しちゃって。
Go make some food.
はーい。
Usami skipped off into the kitchen. I turned on the TV. Pretty much every single channel was reporting on the blockade incident. The large-scale blockade, which began with the abduction of Imagawa Suneo, a member of the National Diet, officially came to an end 2 days ago at approximately 7 a.m. Mr. Imagawa, along with a dozen other hostages, were killed in the incident. The police detained all the people in the area. Ordinary civilians were released shortly thereafter. The injured were transported to hospitals, and juveniles suspected to have participated in the violence on Central Boulevard were brought in for questioning. Those of obvious guilt were immediately taken under arrest. However, it's estimated that over 1,000 people escaped during the bedlam, and they remain unidentified. That figure would include yours truly. In any case, once they get a look at the video feed from the cameras scattered around the place, I'll be brought in for questioning too. Who knows? Maybe I'll even be identified by Hashimoto. They say the police have made additional arrests, already based on the testimonies of people involved. I couldn't quite bring myself to part with the gun, so it's still hidden away in my coat pocket. Though I guess it could lead to trouble if the police find it. I should probably hand it over to the Yakuza or something soon. There were a devastating number of casualties. Supposedly, the count is upwards of 2,000. Among them was Iwai. They found him locked up inside the motel. He had suffered some severe injuries, but apparently managed to escape death. The testimony he gave after regaining consciousness led the police to discover the criminal group's motive. They learned that the principal offender behind the event was a man by the alias Maou, and are currently in the process of further investigation.
いやー、浅井さんもそのうち逮捕ですね。
I told you to shut up.
拳銃は捨てたって言ってましたよね。
Yeah, I lied. I'll be in big trouble if Miss Hard On for Justice here finds it. But man, this sucks. Gonzo's dead, so I don't have anyone supporting me anymore. Speaking of Gonzo, supposedly his funeral was cancelled, seeing as neither Haribe nor any of the other high-ranking members of the Soniyama group could make it. They said they'd contact me with more details at a later date. The school is closed for a week as well, due to the number of students and faculty members that got caught up in the mess. You wear your school uniform even while relaxing around the house, eh?
ええ、まあ、同じ服何着も持ってるんで。
Of course you do. You serious? And just then, I got a call from Eiichi.
あ、京介、生きてたか？
Yep, and the police haven't come for me yet either. Maybe I'll make it through this in the clear.
いや、無理じゃね。俺もさっきまた呼び出されたぜ。
Really?
なんつうの？俺が警察の中に入れたようなもんじゃん、むしろ。
Whatever you say.
でもお互い生きててよかったな。宇佐美も無事だって話だろ。
Yeah, alive and kicking. How's everyone else?
白鳥も椿もてめえらを心配してたぞ。カノンは？
They've temporarily locked down the airport because of the terrorist incident, so she hasn't come back yet.
ユキ様なんだろうな。
Yeah.
もう警察に行ったっきり帰ってこないんだわ。
I see. She'll probably be under investigation for a few days. In any case, Tokita hasn't committed any crimes that should land her in a courtroom.
お前も気をつけれよ。
Yeah, I know. I busted out the window of a building, fired a gun, burned down a club. Did a lot of shit.
おいおい、お 前ってついこの間20歳になったんだろ
Yep, last year in December. No one knows when my birthday is, so I celebrated all by myself in this apartment. It was lovely.
ダブりすぎじゃね
Shut your damn mouth.
バレたらきっと死刑じゃん
But it's all peachy if they don't. If you don't get caught, it's not a crime.
クズな理屈じゃねえか
I don't want to be called an asshole by you. But whatever.
じゃあ俺ペットの餌買いに行くから
Sure, have fun with that. It was snowing outside.
浅井さん浅井さん
What? Jeez, quit making such a fuss.
今日バレンタインデーって知ってました
Huh? I don't believe it is, actually.
今日浅井さんの誕生日らしいじゃないですか
What exactly are you up to?
いやもうあれですよお祝いですよ自分の誕生日含めて
Okay.
そこでほらデートとか連れて行ってくれてもいいんじゃないですか
Now? At this time of day?
ええディナーとか
Oh, I get it. You screwed up the food, didn't you?
すみませんフォアグラのトリュフを作っていたんですが
What in holy hell? You're poor, and you can't even cook for yourself?
基本カップラでしたあともやし
Freaking bean sprouts?
じゃあ決まりですねどこ行きます
That's a tough one. I mean, we can't go to Central Boulevard, so
西区はどうです
whatever, I guess.
ご飯を食べて海を見るわけですよ二人で
You do realize there's no beach out there, right?
いいじゃないですか昔お別れした場所じゃないですか
Ugh, don't jinx us like that. Oops.
嬉しいです
I put on my coat. Come on then, get your ass ready. I put my aching, stinging legs into action, just long enough to get the car from my parking garage, or the parking garage. We stopped at the first Western-style restaurant I could find, and Usami got the steak she wanted. She ate like a pig, so it wasn't very romantic. After dinner, we hopped back in my car and headed for the docks.
満天の星空
What the hell are you talking about? It's snowing.
ムード出てきましたね
Well, try harder.
浅井さん
She leaned up against me. Let me guess, you're freezing?
バレましたか
Fine, whatever. I'll buy you a coat or something next time we're out.
本当ですか
Don't get me wrong, I'm only doing it because it's embarrassing to be walking together like this.
ああそれは真面目にすいません
That was just a joke.
それで結局
She stammered.
浅井さんのお父さんはどうなりましたか
The Japanese government are requesting that he be extradited as a fugitive, but whatever country he's in right now is being uncooperative. They're saying the terrorist incident has nothing to do with them. In fact, the government isn't even sure if they're negotiating with the right country. They lost track of the boat after it left Japanese waters.
きっとまた会えますよ
That would be nice.
お願いなんですが
Usami's expression suddenly grew serious.
お父さんに会ったらぜひ私のことを紹介してもらえませんか
If this were the old me, I'd probably hit her on the spot. But hatred isn't something you can retain forever, it seems. Alright. I spoke somewhat awkwardly. But that's a big if. Usami hung her head quietly. There will be no more hatred. Now that Maou is dead, the strife is over. Oh, weren't we celebrating or something?
あ、すみませんバレンタインデーは明後日でした
Alright, we'll celebrate that then too.
はい自分頑張ってチョコ作りますんで
I don't think I can expect much, but I nodded anyway. You cold?
あ、いえ
She smiled bashfully.
もう寒くはないです 一緒にいてくれる人がいますので。
She must have been so lonely. She had lost her entire family, just as I have. I'm probably the only one in the world who can make her happy. Come here. She left herself to me. I wrapped my arm around her, softly, gently, like a leaf drifting over the surface of a pond. It was a sweet kiss. We sought each other, as if trying to supplement what we had each lost. Her choked whispers floated to my ears. I answered her by strengthening my embrace. I wanted to tell the little girl I'd once made a promise with that I would never again let her go. My lips pressed that message onto Haru. The snow dancing down from the sky fell to the ground and melted, along with the devil in Haru's violent G-string. Yay! Though, from what I remember, that isn't the true end. Maybe I screwed up in the choices somewhere. So, I may have to make another video with the true end. Maybe I won't. Maybe there's an epilogue. I don't remember, to be honest. I just remember that that ain't the true end, at the very least. So what'd you guys think? Enjoy it? Hopefully you did. I was a big fan of the game when I first played it. Still a big fan of it now. I don't even remember if I ever got this ending. I don't know. This music will probably get me a copyright match. That'll be fun. Let's see, while this is playing, let me look up a walkthrough. Okay, maybe there is a an epilogue, because when I'm looking at this walkthrough, I don't see a bad end listed for Usami. So perhaps this is the one and only ending for her. I guess we'll see, right? Akabe Softo. Zid. Thanks, guys. Good game. It seems to snow just about every day this season. Today is Valentine's Day. As I neared the apartment, someone else came out through the auto-locking door. I exchanged a quick greeting with them and proceeded inside. I wonder what Usami is up to right now. It would certainly be comedic if she was making handmade chocolate. I stepped off the elevator and made my way to the front door. I pushed the button for the intercom.
Hi!
A joyful feminine voice responded in kind.
早かったですね。
Her footsteps pattered as she rushed to the door. I was burning with anticipation. I couldn't wait to see her. A sweet aroma wafted through the ventilation.
今開けますよ。
The door slowly drifted open. I could almost say that I missed the girl that stood there before me. Her eyes were closed. I suppose she was expecting a welcome back kiss or something of the sort. I jammed my foot in the open doorway and greeted her.
会いたかったよ、宇佐美。
Yep. We ain't done yet, guys. Epilogue. Haru. Spring. Let's do this. I couldn't even begin to describe Usami's face at that moment. It was like a blanket of snow that had once melted, suddenly decided to freeze over again. Damn it, Haru. Telling me to go out and buy vanilla extract. Damn. Yet here I am regardless, on my way back from being her errand boy. My phone suddenly rings. Since I lost my old one, I had to buy a replacement. I answer it on the off chance it might be a client. Oh, Haribe. I take it they've decided on a date for her father's funeral then. Hmm? I'm listening. No, the name doesn't ring any bells. What about him? Disappear? I have a bad feeling about this. When was the last time you saw him? The bus? My mind went back to the scene. I watched with my own eyes as the man crawled from the bus, enveloped in a pillar of flame. Oh my god. We'll talk about this later. I canceled the call. Without so much as closing my phone, I dialed Haru's number. The first attempt, Haru did not pick up. The second attempt, Haru did not pick up. She was supposed to be at home making chocolate, and yet I wasn't getting any answer at all. I dropped my shopping bags and ran. Shit! The man in that terrible conflagration wasn't Maou. He must have given the driver his gun, then used him as a substitute. Now that I think about it, I remember seeing Maou go near the emergency exit window. He staged a shootout with the police, busted out the window, and then shot the fuel tank. After that, he made use of the ensuing chaos to escape. Even Haru and I were able to elude the police at the time. It would have been a simple job for him. I have to hurry. Maou is still alive. Unadulterated dread descended upon Usami Haru when she saw the devil in her doorway. She immediately dashed backwards into the living room to escape him. Maou spoke with his usual confidence. Haru's eyes were still wide open in shock as she retreated backwards further into the kitchen.
生きていたか。
生きていたさ。
チョコレートでももらいに来たか。
Maou grinned.
私のために頑張ったわけではなかろう。
じゃあなんだ。
もちろんお前に地獄を味わわせるためだ。
Mao advanced on Haru. The emptiness of his expression seemed to suited to the grave. Haru proceeded further into the kitchen. She felt around for the kitchen knife. She grabbed air once. Twice. Where is it? Hurry. Mao was getting closer. Haru eventually grabbed a pan instead. She removed the lid and chucked it at her foe. The boiling, bubbling chocolate splattered out, but failed to reach Mao's face.
どうした？
Mao's smile was long gone. His emotions had apparently been entirely rooted out, and his expression bore not one iota of hesitation. He was the angel of death himself. Haru waited for the moment that Mao stepped over a chocolate-drenched tile. When he did, she rushed him like a berserker. Mao noticed her attack and took a stance against it, but she continued her tackle regardless. The Reaper had fumbled ever so slightly. She followed through with an uppercut to the jaw. He dodged, as if he had predicted her next move. The result saw Haru losing her balance and tumbling to the living room floor.
終わりか？
Mao looked down on Haru as she lay on the ground. His eyes followed her, as religiously as if she just sat down in the electric chair. Something was different about Mao. He wasn't up to his usual games. He had something deeper, something more sinister in store for her today. Sweat trickled from her forehead. She squeezed her fists tight in an attempt to quench their fearful trembling. My sworn enemy is here. Her mother's murderer, whom she failed to kill with her own hands, had reappeared before her very eyes once more. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Haru rose to her feet and glared into Mao's lifeless eyes. Hatred erupted within her. Even if she has to go down with him, she... Strength filled Haru's every limb, preparing her for what must be done. A gunshot suddenly rang out. Mao writhed. He had been hit on the shoulder. Blood spurted from the wound, staining his suit red. Haru looked over where the shot had been fired from. Kyosuke stood in the doorway, holding a gun at the ready. He fired a second shot, but it did not make its target. Mao groaned and savagely charged Kyosuke. Mao! I pulled the trigger without hesitation. Unfortunately, despite being only a few yards away, I missed. Mao reached inside his suit. He pulled out something black, a gun. But then for some reason, he just threw it away. He delivered a blow to my stomach. His strike caused me to lurch forward. Before I was brought to my knees, I raised my gun once more. Before I could fire a shot, he wrenched my wrist. My gun fell to the floor. Mao delivered one final kick before running out the door. Haru, are you okay? Yeah, same here. I managed to straighten out my knees as they're on the verge of collapse. Hey! Haru dashes right past me and heads outside. Wait! It's too dangerous. Wait until we call the police. Hell, even the Sonayama group. I look for the gun I dropped on the floor. It's gone. Did Haru take it? I snatch up the gun that Mao tossed aside and chase after Haru. There's something weird about all this. Why did Mao run away and throw away the gun? He pulled out a gun, but didn't even bother using it. Did he not come to kill Haru? What is he up to? And where on earth did he run off to? I can hear Usami's footsteps behind me. The wound in my shoulder is throbbing. Usami gave pursuit, as predicted. My legs are starting to get unsteady. I wanted to take her to a place with more people around, but I guess things don't always go perfectly. Alright, Kyosuke. This will be your final trial. I'll make sure you get a taste of hell as well. I'll never reform. You'll receive no loving quarter from me, little brother. No, that's not true. It is precisely our fraternal bond that prevents me from letting you off the hook as things stand. I see a little park to my left. There are no swings or slides. It boasts nothing but a tiny sandbox. I'd say it's a worthy playground to serve as the backdrop for Mao's grand finale. The question, what was it that served to drive Usami Haru? The answer, a thirst for revenge, accompanied by a degree of obsession. Just hearing the word Mao was enough to revive in her mind the spectacle of that day. The sounds of gunfire and screams, the sights of soaring limbs and dangling organs. And the nightmare will only get worse. She must now kill or be killed. Thus, she pursues him. She carries with her the gun Kyosuke had dropped, despite her utter lack of firearms training. Mao's voice surfaces in her mind.
母は最後までお前のことを案じていた。娘だけは助けてくださいと何度も頭を下げた。
Mao provoked Haru, played with her.
お前もそうだ、宇佐美春。やっと私に巡り会えた。お前はただの死に損ない。お前に必要なのは愛でも友情でもなく、敵であり悪であり、そう固くできる思い込みだ。
During this long battle, Mao had placed a curse upon the hero.
だからバイオリンも捨てたのだろう。
Demons have always had a knack for taking advantage of the weakness within people's hearts. Haru had already lost all self-control. She knew what she had to do. No one would be able to get through to her now. She'll chase him down and kill him without a second of hesitation. The only question was how. Haru had already completely forgotten the gun she so tightly gripped. I ran after Haru and Mao. My pursuit took me through a quiet residential district. Suddenly, I saw Haru turn a corner to the left. The path that leads to a small park, if I recall correctly. Only, I was filled with dread. I caught a glimpse of Haru's face as she left the road. There was no sign of the aloof girl I knew so well. She had a terrifying look on her face as she chased down her prey, one that I had never seen before. It reminded me of some old myth or legend. After vanquishing demons for so long, the hero himself became corrupt with its evil. So that's it. It was at that moment that I finally understood Mao's plan. It was a scheme of profound magnitude. I was attacked by a wave of despair. It's all over. I found myself looking up at the sky. Why do I look up? Despite knowing that there's no God to find there. For whatever reason, I can't help but look to the heavens when I imagine what is about to happen. Haru, I'm so sorry. I guess I was the only one who thought we finally had severed those chains of revenge. I guess I was the only one who thought we'd finally brought an end to this karma. Maybe, if we had just a little more time, we could have truly understood each other. If we had just had the opportunity to talk a little more. What are you doing, Kyosuke? Someone whispered into my ear. My head throbbed, as if someone's fist had just knocked me senseless. There's only one beast who could ever do such a thing to me. It could only be the man who died protecting me. Oh, I see what you mean. I guess I'll try taking a page out of your book. We've known each other for a long time now, after all. Very well. The beast grinned. Looks like I just can't help being your son, huh? I release the gun's safety and head to the park. I lean against a tree trunk in the center of the park, awaiting her action. Her shoulders are heaving. Her eyes look no less than possessed. She's been transfigured into the very image of the Mao that I had hoped for. The safety is off. She's holding the gun properly, with both hands. All she has to do is pull the trigger. Even an amateur wouldn't miss at this range. There aren't many people around, but a bigger crowd will be sure to gather upon hearing the gunshot. The gun in Usami's hand shakes. It's clearly not out of hesitation, though. She's overcome with exultation and relief over finally being liberated from this nightmare. Her finger moves to the trigger. Die! She shouts through disheveled hair. A figure suddenly appears behind Usami. Very good. After all, I tried to ensure that Kyosuke would not have the time to directly stay Usami's hand. Gunshots crack through the air. One shot lands its target within my stomach. A burning pain soon gnaws at the entire area. I see. So this is how it turns out. That gun is easy to aim, even for an amateur. I wince from the impact of the shot. But even still, I can sense Usami's surprise at the fact that the gunshots came from behind her. She collapses straight to the ground, like she'd been struck by a bolt of lightning. My vision starts to mist over. But I have no complaints with this conclusion. In fact, now my plan has been realized. Maou. After shooting off all the bullets in my gun, I approached Maou. Haru was lying collapsed against the park's bare earth. I immediately took up her gun and stashed it away in my pocket. The event caused an uproar in the surrounding residential area. People screamed and shouted over what had just transpired. Among the commotion, I could hear someone calling the police. To my left, a middle-aged man stood pointing at me, and before me sat a man who watched over the entire spectacle with a satisfied grin.
Kyosuke.
I knew why Maou had come here to meet his end. There could only have been one reason. Dad. Samijima Toshikatsu is dead, isn't he? Maou nodded slowly.
父は心臓の持病を持っていた。知っているか？
I shook my head.
だろうな。だからお前は救われんのだ。
His steadily closing eyes flooded once again with tears. And you predicted it, didn't you? Or rather, you planned for the worst-case scenario. Getting Dad out of prison was one thing, but allowing him to start a new life was another beast entirely. He was an old man, and you had your doubts as to whether or not he would survive the long boat trip.
不安は現実となった。そう。 私が殺したようなものだ。
Did you get to see him?
いいや、遅かった。
Maou continued, struggling beneath a sadness too heavy for his shoulders.
地獄でいくらでも父に詫びよう。だが、あれでよかったとも私は考える。不当な判決を下したこの国に殺されるよりも、せめて最後に希望を持たせてやれればと。 私は手を断行した。
And all the while, you provoked Haru. He chuckled faintly.
はるか。
His sad attempts at mockery caused blood to dribble from his mouth. Despite it, he continued on.
京介よ。なぜ母のそばにいてやらなかった。私は言ったはずだ。母を頼んだと。 なぜあの借金取りの養子になどなった。
I could not answer. It was to escape a life of extreme poverty and eventually come back to get her. It was to become even more rich and powerful than Azai Gonzo himself, and then make the many people who look down on our family rue their behavior. Whatever answer I might give, it would be only an excuse to Samijima Kyohei.
金だろうな。金はいつでも戦いを招く。金は意志を持つ。戦争もそうだった。
He paused for a fit of coughing.
だが、金の奴隷になるような弱い人間が私は大嫌いでな。
I know. That's why he had me pull the trigger.
あまつさえお前は憎き宇佐美の娘と恋をした。
It was only natural he couldn't forgive me. It would take magnanimity on par with Buddha himself to simply allow our happiness.
強くあれ京介お前は償うべきだ分かっているようだな
Yes, and that is why I chose to pull the trigger.
そこの少女はお前と違って柔軟ではなかったようだせいぜい目を覚まさせてやるんだ復讐に意味はないと
He sneered at himself.
まさに浅井権蔵の言う通りだったか
The fool who had sought salvation through revenge smiled.
京介私を撃ち殺したお前がどうなるか分かっている
I nodded.
そうかならば私を憎むがそう人を
He was about to say something, then looked down, catching his mistake.
いいや愛も
His sentence trailed off into the ether, never to be finished. Snow continued to pile up on what was now nothing more than a silent, motionless lump of flesh. I cannot pity him, nor can I cry. Maou remained the Maou to the very end. He died after a flawless execution of his sly, wicked, perfect plan. Just then, I remembered that my brother never did listen to classical music. Somehow, that was the saddest thing of all. There was no time to dwell on sorrow. Haru. She showed no sign of regaining consciousness. Come on now. If you sleep out here, you'll catch a cold. I picked up Haru and headed back home. The people on the street continued gaping and pointing at me. I hailed my gun up to Haru to make it look like she was my hostage. The room was dark. I laid Haru down on my bed to rest and mulled over the situation alone. My eyes wandered to her violin case. It's a keepsake from Haru's mother. I wanted to hear it one more time, but I guess that dream will go unfulfilled. Unfulfilled dreams, like her dream to be a violinist. I need to help make that dream come true. At this point, staying with her won't do her any good. In fact, my very presence would crush all chances of her success. Haru is already a known artist under the name of Mishima Haruna. She spoke of being retired and whatnot, but there's no doubt that in actuality, she wants to continue playing. If I stay by her side, the media will have a field day with her. I learned just how dreadful they can be back when I was a boy. That's why I hate standing out. Well, I guess with what's about to happen, I won't be able to avoid it. I'm sorry, Haru. I was the one who wanted to get you playing again. But now, irony has come to bite me, as I won't even be able to be with you, let alone hear your music. After all, I'm a murderer now. Looks like the police sirens woke her up. I went out onto the terrace and used my cell phone. Hey, Miki-chan. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? I've got a little favor to ask. Yeah, but it'll be my last favor, so help me out here. Alright. Well, you remember me talking about a girl named Tsubaki? Evening, Haribe. I'm truly sorry, but I won't be able to make Father's funeral. If you want to know why, turn on the news. Anyway, I have a little favor to ask. After some time passed, I heard the sound of the terrace window sliding open. Finally decided to get up? I tried to maintain a cold tone of voice. Does she not remember very well? That's fortunate. The police will be here shortly. I killed a man. Haru winced.
人って魔王ですよね。
That's right. And now the police will be taking me in.
そんな。
She jumped onto me, screaming.
待ってください。
She clung to me desperately.
おかしいじゃないですか。
She made no attempt to hide her flowing tears.
だってあれは正当防衛じゃ。
Don't be ridiculous. I continued coldly. He was unarmed, and I could have called the police at any time. Despite that, I chose to chase down a fleeing wounded man and shot him multiple times. What part of that is self-defense? Furthermore, I'm in possession of contraband, an illegal firearm. I could have gotten rid of it at any time. I'm completely painted as a murderer here. The fact that the victim was my own brother is just the icing on the cake.
でも魔王は極悪人で死刑になって当然なんですよ。
That has nothing to do with this. She's probably screaming and crying about silly, obvious things because she feels this is all her fault. Her breath was frantic.
ごめんなさい。私も罰を受けます。
I steeled my nerves and spoke. What are you talking about, Usami? Being called by her family name seems to have dragged her back to her senses. What crime are you allegedly guilty of, hmm?
私のせいで京介君が引き金を引いたんです。私を止めるにはもう間に合わないと思ったから京介君が撃ったんです。気づくべきだったんです。罠だったんです。こんな人目のつくような公園に逃げ込んでさも力尽きたように木の幹に寄りかかるなんておかしいんです。
She's right. It was all part of Mao's perfect plan. He lured Haru out, purposefully timing everything so that I would not be able to intervene directly. Pulling the trigger was the only means I had to stop her. Mao had intended on making either me or Haru out to be a murderer. And there was no way I could allow Haru to commit such a sin. She has a future ahead of her. A bright future, filled with the lush melodies of her violin. I have no idea what you're talking about. You didn't do a thing.
私は銃をあれ
Her memory must be vague. A gun? What are you talking about? You didn't have a gun. I need to persuade her.
そんなはずは
I didn't come across anyone on my way back to the park. Most likely, no witnesses saw Haru chasing Mao with a weapon.
でもそんなはずは
You didn't do anything. Got it?
嫌だ。
Please, just listen to me. I sent her the gravest look I could muster.
嫌だ。
She pouted like a spoiled child.
好きなんだよ。
I'm sorry.
大好きなんだよ。ずっと好きだったんだよ。
I'm so sorry.
一緒にいたいんだよ。なんでやっとそばに幸せに二人っきりで暮らせると思ったのにそうになれると思ったのに。
I could feel tears coming on, but there was no way I was going to let them out. I can't afford to just hold her close and cry. Getting caught up in my emotions here would only lead to hesitation. I see. You love me that much. Suddenly. Do you have a girlfriend or anything? You sure act like a grown-up, hero. Dad always said girls were interested in that sort of thing, though. Just tell me already, yes or no? Nope, I never even thought about it. I guess it can't be helped then. I'll marry you. If you remember, if we even see each other again, I have to move soon. It'll have to be a fateful reunion, I guess. Romantic, don't you think? You're moving? Yeah. Why?
バイオリンの勉強するの。
I remembered her weeping face as she bid farewell like it was just yesterday. That's why. That's why I pushed her away. She looked like an abandoned child as I turned my back on her. If you really love me that much, then you know what you have to do, don't you? You know what would make me the happiest, don't you?
いや、
She knows. She's a smart one after all. She calls after me in a hoarse voice.
行かないで。
I step forward. Our time together has been a repetition of meetings and farewells. The cruel march of time once robbed me of my memories. By the time we reunited, she was all grown up, and now we must part again.
お願い。
Only this time, we will not be meeting again.
もう少し。せめて。もう少しだけでも。
Another reunion will simply not be possible.
お願い。お願いします。神様。彼を助けてください。何も悪くないんです。京介君は。
She continued wailing. Snow fell upon her trembling shoulders, then melted away. The white sky above decorated her in a shining blanket as she prayed to God. She's a good girl. Perhaps God will actually listen to the prayers of a beautiful girl like her. Unfortunately, I am not as innocent as she says. I've committed a number of sins, both light and heavy. I've come this far by living a life of deceit. I've cheated many people, Tsubaki and Kanon most of all. I wasn't able to save my mother, or father, or my brother. Nevertheless, Maou has left a final trial for me, at the cost of his very own life. Very well then, Maou. I accept your challenge.
京介君。
Epilogue. Alright, if I recall correctly, this epilogue is pretty darn long, so I'm thinking I probably should cut it here. Yeah, I should cut it here, just in case. I seem to recall this epilogue being quite long. So yeah, as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.